Hello, my name is Angie Mack, and I'm the founder of Ozaki Talent. And I like to interview musicians from time to time, especially musicians that I find to be influential, as well as people who are visionary, who I feel like have a lot of potential in many different ways. Um, I'm also internationally known as a music researcher, and I've done a lot of things about the Paramount Records music history in Grafton, Wisconsin. You can see more about that on my website, which is angiemackriley.com, Reilly. And that's a pen name. That's not my real name, for the record. You can also go to ozakitalent.com to see some of the things that I do as far as music in the southeastern Wisconsin region. Today I have trellymack with me. He is a musician from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and I've known Trelly for quite a long time. I was going through some of my notes and found an interview that I had actually done with Trelly in May of 2016. So I found my notes. I still have them. I've not forgotten. And
Nice.
Trelly's been very supportive over the years, and has been very supportive of anything that I've done as far as music. And I've really greatly appreciated that. So today I am going to be interviewing Trelly and asking a few questions just as a follow-up from an interview that we started years ago. So we'll begin that right now.
Cool.
All
Cool, cool,
right.
cool.
All right.
Yes.
So Trelly, I looked up, I went on your YouTube channel, which is it's just Trelly Mack, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And so I saw that Sacrifice My Life, which is a song that you had written quite a while ago, has 21,000 views.
Yeah.
And, that's pretty impressive to have a song out of Milwaukee with that many views. I wanted
Mhm.
to ask you, do you feel like that song is still relevant musically? Do you think that people can still relate to it just from a purely musical standpoint? Or do you feel like the music is outdated?
Yeah, I still feel like that is pretty relevant. Um, the sound of it is unique. Um, the lyrics are unique. Like it's not something I think that, is outdated. It's something that I think is, pretty much timeless, if I may say so. Just for the fact of because of the originality of it. And I think that's a big thing with music. Like a lot of times, when music is original, it to me it lasts longer, and it stands a greater test of time, towards any generation of listeners' ear because I think when things do get outdated is because most of the time, it's something that's trendy or people are making type of music that's kind of for the time or trying to like whatever's hot at the time being. And when you make something that's pretty much original and has its own style and doesn't sound like anything, you can never put it in a box. It just stands that test of time like that.
Yeah, that's really a quality of a good song,
Yeah,
that can, like you said, stand the test of time. And
yeah.
I think when I talked with you about Sacrifice My Life, which is the song we're talking about, did you say that it was an improv, that it started as an improv?
I'm sorry, my phone went out a little bit. What? Could you repeat it?
Yes, yes. I think the last time I had talked with you, you said that Sacrifice My Life might have started as an improv. Is
Well,
that
yeah.
how it started, or do you remember where you got the inspiration or when?
Well, yeah. Sacrifice my life. It kind of just was just one of those things where I was just going through at the time. You know, um, I was just going through I was just at a period in my life, where I was just going through things, and I kind of just like that's just how I was feeling at the time. That's just comes from me being an older sibling, being a father, and being such a key component, to my family. Also, sometimes people don't really realize, the position that a person of myself, when you're in that situation, like, the things that you sacrifice and the things that you do, I mean, when you love people and you really just to take on that leadership role like that, it takes a lot of sacrifice. And a lot of people don't see that because, they see me smiling all the time or, you know, see me happy most of the time, and I just felt like, that's how it came about. I just felt like, a lot of times, like I'm sacrificing my life. And that's how that song actually came up.
Yeah, and obviously a lot of people relate to it with that many views. I remember you telling me that at one point when you were a freshman in high school, you had a teacher who strongly recommended that you do something with your writing talent. Do you remember who that teacher was or what school you were going to?
Yeah, at the time I was going to James Madison High School. Yeah, like I said, I was a freshman,
Is that in
and
Milwaukee?
yeah, James Madison is in Milwaukee.
Okay.
Um, I think her name was Mrs. Nielsen. If for some reason I want to recall her name being Mrs. Nielsen. But that teacher, I know for sure that I've heard. It may have been like a couple of years ago. She passed away, but I really think I think her name was Mrs. Nielsen, if I recall. But yeah, I do remember, when she had that conversation with me, like we were in class and like the assignment was, make a write a story. I forget what the topic was, and I just wrote the story, just writing. I like writing, so I just wrote, never thought anything of it. And when I turned in my paper, and she came to me like, "Yeah, I read your story. Like, you should really do something with your writing." I remember that clear as day, her saying that, and that really kind of like just gave me that inspiration, like to just write. And like it's like a lot of people don't know. I write poetry. I write like little short, not stories, but just kind of just visual things. I don't know if you want to call them short stories. I don't really categorize them, but I just it's just a form of therapy to me. So like I just like to write. Sometimes it comes out to music. Sometimes it's just stuff for personal notes, and I just like writing.
Yeah, as a lifetime arts mentor myself, I work with a lot of youth, and I always tell people, I tell my young students, I say, don't forget me when you're famous. Because
Right,
I think that those early instructors and mentors really play a vital role in shaping someone's life. And I'm not saying that that teacher necessarily gets all the credit, but she planted a seed,
right,
still continuing to this day. And I always want to see teachers, mentors, instructors getting acknowledged for the work that they've done, because it
correct.
does have a lasting effect. And I'm happy that you shared that with you. Um, so the other thing that I wanted to talk to you about was how long have you lived in Milwaukee?
I've been in Milwaukee like all my life. So
You were born here.
yeah, born and raised.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So you're, in my opinion, you'd be considered an expert on Milwaukee.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
The people who live there, I mean, really, in my opinion, are the greatest authorities to explain, some of the issues happening. And I'm just north of you. I'm in Grafton, Wisconsin, and I know that you've visited here to learn about the Paramount Recording Artists, which was an early record label in the early 1900s
Hmm.
that recorded some of the earliest, in my opinion, well, it's not an opinion, it's a fact, some of the earliest American music, because the blues, um, if you look at a musical tree, it was at the bottom of that tree, and it spawned all kinds of genres, including, you know, rock and roll, and all the way even up to hip hop, in my opinion. Is that how you feel? Do you think that hip hop has has a root in the blues, and how would you correlate the two?
Yeah, I would think so. I would think just, just being that, blues, when I think of blues, just the soul, the like music that comes from the soul. I think, that and hip hop music, coincide with each other just for the simple fact because, it comes off of music that's made off of emotion and feeling. And speaking of the Paramount walk and the Ozaki thing, that I mean, I pretty much like never knew anything about that until I met you. And I think like, a lot of people in Milwaukee, maybe even Wisconsin or wherever, like just to say locally here, like don't know about that. And every time, I get a chance, I try to, at least speak that to people, especially if they're musicians, hip hop artists, whatever. I try to let them know about that, so that's why I always, advocating, for what you've done as far as with the, the Paramount, the whole graphic thing, because like that's very important information to know, especially if you're going to be part of the culture. You got to know where you're coming from. You know what I'm
Right.
saying, to go where you're going. And I was like very amazed. I think I came up there for the Paramount tour, walk tour that you put together, and I was like really shocked about all the information that I found out, just to find out that piece of history and even see that like right here, like in Grafton, Wisconsin. So it was like that's like another jewel in a part in my life that has also inspired me to keep going with music. So but yeah, they definitely coincide with each other. Like I said, they're both uh styles of music that I feel like comes from feeling and comes from emotion and just have soul to it.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. It's music that's authentic, and it explains authentic feelings and authentic emotions, and that's very important. Music can help people heal, and it can help people sort out things that are difficult in their lives. And I'm a strong advocate for people to use their art form in a way that they feel that they can speak their truth, because a lot of artists really aren't heard from. Now, I remember that you told me you started a record label, or I don't know if it's record label, but some sort of label called Hard Labor Entertainment.
Mhm.
And at the time, you said that you kind of wanted to reach out to the starving hip hop artist scene. Um, have you recorded a lot of musicians in the Milwaukee area? Have you recorded some of the hip hop from these unknown artists?
Um, Not as of late, pretty much like with the hard labor brand itself now, I kind of went more so in like the clothing direction. So, which I do have an online store called thelaborfactory.net. So that's kind of where like my focus has been as of right now, just focus more on the clothing. But we still are, considered a record label. We still do work with artists, and not more so as of late. Like I said, like from that time of that interview with you, like yeah, I worked with tons of locally artists or just people looking for places to record or just looking to learn more about music or the music business. I worked with like tons of artists, and I wouldn't say like would say a record label, but I would say we were more like kind of like an artist and development label. I would say, so like I said, it was just one of those things, that when we formed, it was just more so, just to help artists develop, help them to, um, learn more about music and help them to find themselves and find their style of music and um any business things that they need to know about or we're trying to learn. So it was just pretty much us helping on that standpoint.
Mm.
But yeah, for like maybe like the last 3, I would say 4 years ago, like I pretty much kind of like shifted into the clothing brand. And like I said, I started the laborfactory.net, which is an online clothing store that I have, and but we're still hard labor entertainment. And I get the question all the time because people are like, okay, hard labor. I give it, what did the entertainment part come from? So just another aspect that I have to explain to them, like, hard labor entertainment is just a brand, so
Yeah.
pretty much, you know what I mean? Like the music thing is just one aspect of what I'm trying to do. So now I'm, trying to take that same blueprint and then just apply it to with the clothing, and who knows what's next, you know what I mean? So, but it's still under one umbrella though.
Yeah, and I do want to talk about your clothing line for sure. That's um we're gonna get to that. But before we do, I just want to ask, I know that you were recording people a long time ago. You don't necessarily do it so much anymore. Um, do you still have those recordings? Do you have an archive of those?
Oh yeah, I got matter of fact, I got two hard drives of music that I just found. I was in the garage. It is what a coincidence that you brought that up, because I'm like, I was just in the garage on Saturday, speaking with my brother. So I have some studio equipment in there. He called me up like, hey, like, let's set the studio equipment up by my house and cool. And I'm like, cool, because I'm like, it's just been sitting in my garage, just some stuff that I had. So I was going in the garage to grab that, and I found two hard drives. I mean, like, it's tons of music on there. I mean, like albums and stuff, like, just not for me, but, for my brother and, a couple of other artists who we working with. So, I mean, like, I got tons of music, the music, it isn't the problem, it's just like I said, like, to me, the music is always going to be there. It's more so, like I said, is with the whole music thing, it was just more so just kind of taking that step back and really learning the business, because I always myself always wanted to go the independent route, so and that's kind of like a harder hill to climb, you know what I mean? Doing everything out of yourself and paying for everything yourself. Like you don't have any baggings or any investors and things like that. So everything that pretty much is out of your pocket. So that's just a harder hill to climb. And which, I like the journey, you know what I mean? I like being independent, I don't have anybody, controlling me or trying to tell me what I need to do, or, if I'm trying to put some music out or anything, what's going to work and what's not going to work. Like I don't have any that problem. I like the freedom of everything.
Yeah, and I can appreciate that. You and I actually have a lot in common in some of these regards. It's important for artists to have their own independence. And I know, myself, I also, started a record label called Hot Seat Records. Now it's not really official, but same as you, I wanted to record people and their raw emotions. And my goal was to have a sound that was not overly produced. So I purposely wanted the mistakes, it was kind of like a one take recording.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a whole philosophy behind that. But me also being employed in the music business, I understand full well that it's very difficult for actual artists to get funding.
Yeah.
There's a lot of money that flows around in the arts, but somehow it doesn't trickle to the actual creators and the visionaries like you and I are both producers. We're both writers. We're both leaders in the arts, and it's very important that people like us who have grassroots influence, it's very important that we get the funding because we are able to connect and with a certain niche of people. And my hope is that some of this music that you recorded in earlier years might have a platform to be heard. I know that Milwaukee's really picking up in the Black music scene. There's been, things happening, and I could very well see some of this music being played as a music historian, it's important to keep those recordings. So I'm glad
Right.
you have them. I am glad that you have them. Because it spoke of a certain time, and that's highly commendable. And I do know, that funding is difficult. Now, as far as funding goes, what is your opinion about what's happening with funding and why it's so difficult for people like you and me to get funding?
Well, I think, like you said, like it's just somewhere down the line where they, like you said, where all that money is generating, like it doesn't reach, like you said, the bottom or the grassroots people. Like I honestly, I don't know why that happens, and it's almost kind of seemed like, you know, if you're not, like I said, if you're not signed to the majors, like somewhere down the line, like if you're not signed to a major, or if you're not, your name isn't affiliated with the majors, it's just like it's kind of like you're on the outside looking in, so it seemed like it's just like that money just stays, like amongst the majors, the big corporations, the big sponsors and whatnot. It just, the rich getting richer, I guess. That's what you want to say. But
Yeah,
yeah,
and then you lose a certain amount of freedom as an artist when you
yeah,
sign on to those bigger things, and so that music, in my opinion, isn't as authentic as, the grassroots
right.
recordings that someone like you and I have made. Um, so talking about your hard labor entertainment, um, who created the logo?
You know what? So um it's a guy by the name. His name is Flash Graphics. He's out of Philadelphia. He actually created the hard labor logo for me. Um, the thing is, I kind of like just gave him the pieces. So like the actual logo is probably a, like 4 or 5 different pieces. So I kind of like just over time, after me and my cousins, we kind of all came up with the hard labor name, as one. But we just never had a logo. We had like different logos before, but they were kind of like bogus. They wasn't anything, not like the one that we have now. But yeah, the logos we had at first, they were trash. So there weren't anything that looked too marketable, or like it just wasn't it. And we kind of knew at the time, but it was like, so we were just kind of just looking for a logo over the years. Like I said, so this over time, it was like little pieces of stuff that I would see that gave me inspiration, that I kind of just kept in the archive, like in my phone and within emails. So it was like 4 different pieces of stuff. And I met this guy on Instagram. Like at the time, he was doing graphic design, which he still does, but he was doing graphic design, doing logos, and I liked his work. And I reached out to him on Instagram, asked him, what was the price for a logo and what I was trying to do. And he's like, cool, send it to me. So I sent it to him, and like within like maybe like a couple of days, he sent me back like the first draft of the logo, because he was like, yeah, I'll send you back like maybe like 3 or 4 revisions. And the first one he sent me back, like, I was like, oh no, I'm like, that's it. But it was like one thing I think he had to change. It was something, I don't know if it was like the shaping of the crown or something. I asked him, did he do something? But yeah, after that, he reshaped the crown that's on the logo, and like I just knew, I was like, oh yeah, this is nice. And after that, you know, um, I took the logo and I put it onto a sweatshirt, and like the sweatshirt sold, and people started asking questions about the sweatshirts, and like after that, it just became like a stamp, and it was like it kind of just took off from there. So, and that's why I'm like, I get the question all the time. People like, well, where did the entertainment part come in from? Because I'm like, well, it started off we were a record label, you know what I mean? Like the artist development company, I would like to say more of. But yeah, that's kind of like how the whole hard labor entertainment thing started. So that's why, like, when you see the entertainment on the clothes, like it initially started from being a record label or artist development label, whatever you want to
Right.
call it. So, but yeah, he's the Guy Flash Graphics is his name, out of Philadelphia, and he's doing a lot of big things, you know, as far as within the music industry. Like he's designing artwork for like Gucci Man, Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion, The Game, like a lot of big name A-list artists. So he he's he's doing his thing in the music industry. I mean, I always, you know, kind of like make the joke, like I caught him right at the caught him at the right time, you know, when the price was kind of still reasonable at least, because it was like it seems like, you know, right after he did the logo for me, I recall he ended up doing a CD cover for the game, for the rapper The Game,
Mhm.
and after that, like I seen him take off. Like it was crazy. So like that's always an interesting story too. Like that I haven't really shared that much, but like just to see that how that all unfolded. Because I mean, like he was a graphic designer, you know, with hopes and inspiration and dreams, just like, you know, you see with a lot of people who do graphic design. I'm like I not really seen it unfold. Like, you know what I mean? So I'm like I was just so lucky and fortunate, you know, that he was able to, like I said, design my logo and put mine together for me before he actually took off. Because I know his prices is probably through the roof now.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's a powerful logo. You know, I've done a lot with marketing and the arts over the years, and it's a powerful logo. And I was looking at all of the products that you had the other day, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I want the bomber jacket. I want, I mean, you got socks on there. You've got some really cool hats with,
Yeah,
you know, the ball on the top. And I mean,
yeah,
there's so many cool products, and like, and then there is a jersey that I want to get, you know, like the 3/4 sleeve.
yeah. Waggling.
Yeah, and then you
Yeah,
got your sweats. I mean, and I like you gave me one of the shirts at one point, and it was like it was my favorite shirt. And then one day I was doing dishes, and I sometimes I put a little bleach in the
in the
water.
water. Yeah.
Oh, I was so mad. Yes. I
I'm gonna have to get you another one.
no, I'm definitely gonna order some stuff. But what is the it's very important for people to support local, and that you are. So what is the name of the website again where people can purchase online? I know it's been doing really well.
Yeah, it's called thelaborfactory.net is the name of it.
Thelaborfactory.net.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's been doing pretty good, man. I mean, like I said, I'm shocked to say the least. You know, like I said, you know how you have a vision of something and then like just to see it like
Yeah.
unfold and like it like it's definitely a good feeling, you know what I mean? But then you also have to think about, you know, the hard work that you put in and the long nights of staying up and the mistakes, you know, especially the mistakes. That's one thing that I've learned, you know, just on my journey, even like with the music and whatnot. It's like you can't be afraid to like make mistakes,
Mhm.
and because like mistakes are probably like your best learners. So that's
Yeah.
why the time like I don't even sit and contemplate too long on stuff. It's like I'm either gonna go for it and mess up, or I'm gonna go for it and see how it like something gonna happen, you know. So
Yeah. Well, and I've had the pleasure of, you know, following you and knowing you for at least 5 years.
oh yeah, yeah,
I do know that you are incredibly hardworking and persistent, and that's, you know, highly commendable. And I've seen this thing grow. You know, I think I read somewhere that last year you had 10,000 in sales,
yeah,
you know, something like that.
yeah.
And you know, and I know you've invested a lot of your, you know, as entrepreneurs, which I am too.
Mhm.
Seems like it seems like we volunteer 80% of our time, and we get paid for actually 20% of what we do.
Oh yeah, yeah,
You know, so it's, you know, even if it, you know, even when we make big sales, or it seems like we're making a lot of money, it's actually kind of covering for
mhm,
all the money we did not make, you know, in
yep,
decades earlier, you know.
yep, yep,
And it takes hard work, and that's why I love your logo, because as an entrepreneur, creative person, musician, I can relate to that as well.
Yes.
So, you know, I've been very impressed to see the growth of this over the years. Before we end, is there anything final that you would like to share about anything, any message that you would like for people to know?
I think, just on the final note, I would just say, just continue to believe in yourself and just keep pushing. Like I said, like can't be afraid to make mistakes. You can't be worried about who not supporting you, who's supporting you. Like you just gotta, you know, put your vision together, put your plan together, and just focus on that. And like I mean, and then stick to it. I see seeing a lot of people at times like have plans and have visions, and then like soon as it's not working or as soon as they have a bad day, oh, I don't want to do that no more. Then they just go to something else, or maybe they never start anything else. And it's like you don't know how close you probably were to anything. So it's like you got to just first of all, get you a plan, write it down, get you a vision together, and then just stick to that. And just the only thing left to do after that is just work. And stuff is not always going to happen overnight. It's not always going to go right. You're going to make tons of mistakes, but it's all a learning process. And
Yeah.
you just got to keep going, just keep pushing and believing in yourself.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's excellent advice. Well, Trelly, it's been fantastic talking with you, and I'm sure we'll continue this dialogue. There's always stuff going on, and I want to be able to support you in any way that I can. Even if that's helping to get the word out. And again, it's so important to shop local. I mean, what's going on with products in this nation right now, I mean, that alone should make people want to buy local. This is the year, don't buy your Christmas gifts at the big box stores. Buy from local people like Trelly. So yeah, so let's hope that people will get behind you and support you.
Most definitely. I appreciate that.
All right, well, good seeing you, and bless you for all you do.
Thanks, Angela. I appreciate you very much. You already know that.
Yeah. All right. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, talk to you later.
Yeah. Bye-bye.